Let's take these two things one at a time. First of all, then the targeting of the dam, which affects the water that cools the Zaporizhzhia plant. How dangerous was that, do you think?
Well, incredibly dangerous. The dam was holding back a lake the size of Greater London. And now we've seen it flood down the Dnipro River. Up to 17,000 people have had to be evacuated. And it will be an ecological disaster. So, number one, very, very callous. And we know that the Russians put explosives on this dam. I mean, some people are sitting so firmly on the fence on this and suggesting it could be the Ukrainians or the Russians. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. This is part of the Russian plan to attack the infrastructure and the power infrastructure of Ukraine to try and bring it to its knees. I mean, they are in a desperate position, which when we start talking about Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, the biggest one in Europe, and the potential for accident there, we've seen how callous the Russians are. They seem to have no limits, no red lines on committing these atrocities. We should be really concerned.
I suppose the issue here is, though, that so it's Alexei Danilov, President Zelensky's top security official, who told the Times that the whole world should be concerned by how reckless Moscow could be, and said that Russia may be plotting to blow up the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. This was a danger that was mooted maybe a year ago or so. I remember that things were getting quite difficult around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, and it was seen as a target, but nothing happened. Presumably, if Russia wanted to do this, they could have done it by now.
Well, let's hope you're right. But from the get-go, President Putin has been threatening the nuclear card, threatening nuclear attack. And I and other experts in this area are pretty much convinced that actually his nuclear threats are pretty hollow. I don't believe he can use his tactical nuclear weapons. Therefore, Zaporizhzhia, as a sort of improvised nuclear weapon, is a possibility. The International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors briefed the world a few months ago that Russia had put explosives around the reactors in Zaporizhzhia. Now, I can see no good reason to do that. So if you are thinking of creating an accident, and an accident at Zaporizhzhia would put a massive amount of radiation contamination, and it is likely to go laterally, either east or west, and it would likely affect any advance of the counteroffensive south. As the flooding of the dam, it will impact in some degree the counteroffensive. Likewise, the use of Zaporizhzhia as an improvised nuclear device would do the same, which is why it's so essential that if the Russians claim that they haven't blown up the dam, if they claim that they're not going to blow up Zaporizhzhia, then the UN, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and I think virtually everybody in the world would like to see a demilitarized zone around the power station so that we can ensure that no accidents happen. Because as you said at the beginning of this piece, we are in danger of running out of water at Zaporizhzhia, which is needed to cool the reactors and also the spent nuclear fuel. And we also need power going into the power station to run the generators and the cooling pumps. If we lose all of those, we are then in a very dangerous position. And Zaporizhzhia is 4 times the size of Chernobyl. And I think most people will know what happened in the 80s when Chernobyl caught fire and went critical and spread contamination across Europe and including the UK.